Hey, what's up my fellow gamers? This is CD-ROM 1019 with Minus World Gaming, and today I'm here to give you my review of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance brings many new elements to the Metal Gear franchise that are both welcome and anger-inducing. Rising takes place 4 years after the events of Metal Gear Solid 4, while focusing on the cyborg Raiden and his fights and struggles against a company called Desperado Enterprises. Gotta tell you, right off the bat, this game easily felt like any game that was written by Kojima-san. Cutscenes that are very dialogue heavy with some story elements that don't make any immediate sense. But let's get the very most important bit out of the way first. Very little of this game is based on tactical espionage, focusing more on sword-to-sword combat. There are old tactical espionage elements in this game for the player to try their hand at, such as bringing in the creeping around in a cardboard box or barrel. But stealth often fails and gives way to man-on-man combat. Multiple weapons make a return to the game, but the primary focus of combat is based on melee weaponry. Combat is pretty intricate and fun, and the addition of blade mode, which allows you to cut where you please and cut off various limbs with precision, is pretty satisfying. In fact, the only thing more satisfying than blade mode is the Zandatsu, aka the stab and grab technique. This allows you to cut your enemy, steal an internal organ, for lack of a better way to describe it, and use it to replenish all of your health. But with all the good in the combat, there is unfortunately the not so good. Various enemies have different combat styles and different weapons, but Rising only allows you 2 defensive actions, allowing you only to either parry the attacks or run like hell. The lack of a concrete dodge button can easily leave you pretty aggravated when you're knee-deep in mini-boss and boss fights. However, parrying attacks does seem to prove very strangely effective, making it able for you to defend yourself against attacks that often don't make any sense in trying to parry at all. But the only thing about combat that's more irritating than the lack of a dodge button is definitely the camera. The camera does not lock onto enemies at any point in time in the game, even after pressing every single button on the controller. This forces you to have to control the camera at every point in time during every fight in the game, making it really irritating when you fight your opponents that are either faster than you or hit you in a way that makes the camera go crazy. I am not kidding when I say that during most boss fights, because they just decide to get right behind you or hit you so hard that it makes the camera go nuts, that this camera is literally all over the place. Including quick-time elements in the combat can also seem pretty initially irritating, but becoming a master at quick-time elements can leave you feeling pretty darn satisfied when it leads to massive damage to your opponent. If you find yourself dying too easy, the character customization is a very welcome addition, allowing you to spend your saved battle points on health upgrades, weapon upgrades, and etc. Level design is pretty intricate, even to the point where it's obnoxious. More than half of the game takes place in levels that can clock in at over 45 minutes long, save for a few of the final levels being saved for boss battles alone. I do have to admit though, even though there are points in time where the story makes no sense, the game has some pretty clever writing. There are a couple different points in the story where hilarity ensues, which is always a good thing. However, there are plenty of occasions where the writers just love to tease you by throwing you into a battle that you can't win on purpose to immediately take you out to a cutscene. And sometimes this happens multiple times in one fight. For example, I was on the final boss wondering where the point came where he would just die, or the task would finally be bestowed upon me to make him meet his final demise. In all seriousness though, the game is definitely worth a play. I mean, it's certainly not a traditional Metal Gear game, but I welcome most of the changes with open arms. The graphics are fantastic and visually stimulating. The music is amazing. OST is definitely going to be worth a find if I ever get my hands on it. For the most part, it was certainly an enjoyable experience. At least it was after I learned how to parry attacks. And I'm pretty sure you'll feel the same way once you get your hand on this game. But all in all, on behalf of Minus World Gaming, I give Metal Gear Rising Revengeance a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely worth the play. I don't think you'll be very disappointed. I mean, sure, there are some parts where you're not going to be happy with some decisions they make, but all in all, it was a pretty enjoyable experience, and I think you'll like it too. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, get your hands on Revengeance, play it, love it, and check out the Minus World Gaming YouTube channel for more video game reviews, gameplays, and game trailers. And until next time, I'm CD-ROM 1019 from Minus World Gaming. We're done here.